Peace, Chem family. Come on in to the live. I'm not going to be on here long today, but I felt the need to come on here and talk about this particular topic. Today we're talking about the Black woman's poor self-image. And hey to everyone who's joining. It's Alicia, Christine, Samadni. Greetings to y'all. I'm talking about this particular topic because there's been a number of things that I've been seeing in the media that are reflective of a need for this conversation from a different point of view. And so I just want to give my take on it. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I put in my stories earlier today. So if y'all haven't watched my stories, go ahead and watch them. Peace to you, A1. Peace to you, Sela. Peace to you, Kohan Baker. Okay? Peace to all of you who are in the live. So I'm going to talk about some of these situations that I put in the live. Okay, not in the live, in the stories, and we're gonna break all of them down and give my take on it. So first one I want to talk about is this sister by the name of Sukihana. Y'all, I'm sure, are familiar with Sukihana. Okay, she is a woman that I can say has been representing herself very, very poorly in the media. And one of the things that I recently saw was a video of her doing a dance with this group of Indian women. So it's like it looks like it's at an Indian cultural event. I don't know exactly where it was, but she starts doing this little dance with the Indian women, and she starts calling it the good coochie dance. She's like, oh, I'm doing a good coochie dance or something like that, right? And she invites the women to go along and do the dance with her and call it the good coochie dance, right? And the women were like, oh no, I'm sorry, I can't participate. She doesn't even have sense enough in the situation to be embarrassed or ashamed of her behavior. Doesn't even have sense enough to realize that other groups of women are not going to embarrass themselves in that way, that type of behavior is not acceptable for everyone, and that it shouldn't be acceptable for you either. But she's so used to getting attention by behaving in a very nasty, lewd, and crass way that she doesn't have sense enough to not be embarrassed when she's putting herself in situations like that. The girl lost all sense of shame. And this is a problem because a lot of us are adopting this type of behavior, this type of thinking. You understand? Everything is for image. Everything is for clout. Everything is for attention. Attention is a hell of a drug. And so many of us are getting off on getting attention for lewd, disgusting behavior. There was another video that I saw of this particular girl in the UK, and she's walking in broad daylight in the street. She actually was dressed appropriately, which I rarely see her dressed appropriately, but she was dressed very nicely, a nice flowing dress, and she walks past a group of women, elderly white women, and she's screaming something completely lewd and disgusting as she's walking by. Okay? She talking about, I don't even want to repeat it. It was so disgusting. And the women are looking at her horrified. Absolutely horrified. And it would be one thing if it was just this one woman behaving like this, but on top of it, when I see these videos, I'm seeing Black women in the comments defending it and saying, well, why can't we just do whatever we want to do? You know, she ain't hurting nobody, which is a lie. It's a lie that she ain't hurting nobody. Y'all be the same ones talking about how you want to be protected and how nobody is protecting Black women. And do y'all not understand that people do not protect people that they don't respect? For some reason, we're not making that connection. We're not making a connection in our minds that when people do not respect you, they will not go out of their way to protect you. It's not happening. So we're always complaining about the fact that we are least protected and least respected, but we continue to disrespect ourselves. That's a problem. That's a problem that we don't even have the sense to do the self-reflection to say, why do people not respect us? Why are people not going out of their way to protect us? It's the same reason that you see, for example, homeless people getting kicked on the street or stolen from or just disrespected on the street, and there's no protection for them because people do not respect people who live like that. Unfortunately, people do not respect them. And so they're the least protected, least respected. And we're not putting ourselves in alignment with what it is that we say that we want. We say that we want to be protected. We say we want to be respected, but we're behaving in a way that will make people not feel sorry for you, not feel like they want to even protect you. Let me see what it's Alicia Christine said. We definitely need to respect ourselves as a whole. It's happening, but slowly. And that's the point. You said it's happening, but slowly. Every woman is not like this. All black women do not think that this behavior is acceptable. The problem is that the ones who do think that it is acceptable, they have a bigger voice in the public. They're getting more attention for what it is that they're doing, and they're speaking louder. They're doing it loud and proud. Women who are quality women need to be just as loud and proud on the other side of it. There needs to be a balance so that people know there's a difference between us, because we think that this just affects us, like it's all about me. It just affects me. That's not true. Because of her actions, there's going to be incidents where black women show up in those same spaces and they are viewed before they've said or done anything. They're viewed in the same light as that woman who behaved that way. Every group of people has a self-image. Every group of people, right? You have an image in your mind when you think of Indian women, for example. You have an image of maybe someone wearing a cultural dress, maybe being soft-spoken. You might think of, belly dancing, whatever you think of when you think of Indian women. You have a particular picture in your mind when you think of a Chinese woman. You may think of somebody who's small, who's meek, whether it's true for everybody or not, they have a public cultural image. And we have a public cultural image, and it's a very poor one. And whether you engage in that type of behavior or not, that image precedes you. That image that people have of black women precedes you, and you're getting treated in the same light as how they view these women who want to behave disrespectful. It does affect all of us. And we have to get out of this individualistic into the world. I don't just represent me. I represent my whole family. I represent my mother. I represent my father. I represent my aunts and uncles who helped to raise me. I represent my ancestors. I represent the collective of black women who are going to be judged based on my behavior as well. And we're not thinking like that. And I think it's sad. There was another incident that I wanted to talk about, which is this recent Carlee Russell incident. Now, some of y'all have heard of this woman who went missing. She's a woman out of Alabama, and she reported that there was an infant in the middle of the road. She called the police saying there was an infant in the middle of the road, and all of a sudden she got abducted and nobody knew where she was. And they went through all type of Amber Alerts and police investigation, FBI investigation, and now the whole nation is looking for this woman, right? Until she pops up 2 days later at her parents' house, and all of the investigations have been unfolding that she was basically lying, that she made the whole thing up, that this is a hoax. We think that this is just about her. It's not. When is the last time we heard about a black woman going missing being national news, that the whole country is looking for her? When is the last time that happened? Black women go missing every single day. Organ trafficking, sex trafficking, and nobody ever looks for them. And the one time we got the whole country looking for us, it's a hoax. How selfish do you have to be to do something like that? And it turns out the girl did it because she was trying to get the attention of a man who broke up with her for another woman. Y'all don't even think things far enough to see, number one, she gonna be in jail for what she did. She's going to get some type of jail time for what she did. I hear she's in school to be a nurse. You could forget that. Okay, because you messed up your whole career, and it's not just about you. You messed things up for a lot of black women. When is the next time that a black woman's situation where she's missing is going to be taken seriously again? When is that going to happen again? I cannot remember a black woman going missing being national news. I can't remember the last time that happened. And the first time in my life that I can remember seeing this being national news, it's a hoax. Why do we not think about that? Why are we not thinking about that? The other thing that I saw come up in the media was the BET Awards. The BET Awards. I remember growing up and loving watching the BET Awards and a lot of these award shows, and I have not, in recent years. It's Alicia Christine says, it does make me question why this case made national news. Is it to continue the negative narrative about black women? You know what? I think part of the reason that it made national news is because during the call that she made to the police, she said that she saw a white baby in the street. I think that was the reason why it made national news. That it wasn't just her missing, it was concern over a white baby in the street. So I think that's part of it. The other thing is it to continue the negative narrative about black women? We cannot be upset about a negative narrative if we are contributing to it. She didn't have to give people this story. You made this whole story up. So we're contributing to the problems that we say we have. And that's a part of what I keep talking about on here, victim mentality. A victim is a person who contributes to their own demise. And when you point out how they're contributing to their own demise, they don't want to take accountability, or they want to put it off on somebody else. Nobody can create yes, people can create a negative image of you, but when they create that negative image of you and it does not match up with what they are seeing in reality, it don't make sense no more. That's how lies get dispelled, is when the lies are perpetuated and the truth is persevering. The true image of who we are is persevering, then the lie don't make sense no more. They got to come up with a new story. But when you are contributing to the negative self-image that they want us to be seen as, you can't complain. So it becomes more important for black women who have a different mentality to put out the images that we want. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute, right? I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So now the BET Awards, right? The BET Award, first of all, I didn't watch it. I hear a lot of this stuff secondhand and see the images secondhand because I can't stand the buffoonery. I can't stand the buffoonery. There were images of like women breaking out twerking, even Krishan Rock being pregnant in the middle of the audience twerking. I mean, we just don't know how to conduct ourselves in a respectable manner in any place, even in an award show. They even did articles about how, there was one article that I saw where they showed how porn stars show up to their award shows, like the dress, the style of dress that the porn stars wear to the porn award shows, whatever they are, and how the black women showed up at the BET Awards, and they looked exactly the same. We're becoming so desensitized to this really slack, indecent image that we think it's normal until we juxtapose it with what the porn stars are doing. And you see, y'all look the same. And then you have women defending it. There's nothing wrong with it. And they still want to be mad at why the men don't respect you, why they don't want to be with you. Nobody is supposed to tell you that you need to clean up your image. Nobody is supposed to tell you that you need to care about the way you appear in the world. But then you want to complain about why the men are dating other women. They're going overseas looking for women. They're dating outside of their race. Why are you coming in as last? Black women are the most beautiful women on the face of the earth. Why are you coming up as the least desirable? Why? Why? Your behavior and your attitude. And we don't want to look at it. We don't want nobody to tell us the truth about it. Everybody's supposed to do like this. La la, I don't see, la 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 la, I don't hear. We're supposed to do like this and act like we don't see it. Everybody is watching you. And you have a responsibility over the image that is being portrayed about you. You have a responsibility in it. So here's the next one now, right? This woman getting arrested in Dubai. I'm sure y'all have heard this story. There's a sister who apparently got into an argument with somebody who was a driver. She was in Dubai. There was a driver. She got into an argument with the driver about some of her bags being in the car. She wanted to get her bags or something like that. She got arrested for yelling at the man. They got into a screaming match, right? And some of us think that that's so extreme. You know, why would they arrest her for just screaming? Y'all think that y'all attitudes over here where you can talk to people any kind of way, that goes everywhere, and it does not. It does not. When people go for an extended period of time doing things that's not in their benefit, but they are rewarded for it, applauded for it, and never held accountable for it, they start to think that it's normal and that it's okay. And they bring that behavior with them other places. And now you're starting to see that other people are not going to tolerate that behavior. Sis got a wake-up call. I'm quite sure she's been used to talking to people any kind of way. And the thing is, we don't know all the details of that story. She could have been in the right. It could have been something that was completely right. But the thing is, because we have this image of being the ones with a nasty attitude, we're rude, we talk to people any kind of way, we're belligerent, we curse. Because we have that self-image, people automatically gonna look and be like, yep, it was her fault. I could be totally wrong that it wasn't her fault and it was that man's fault. But you know what? Our self-image precedes us. People abroad are not feeling sorry for that woman. People here are not feeling sorry for her. They're like, yep, you took your bad attitude to Dubai, and you got your behind handed to you for it. Suck it up. People don't feel bad. You wondering why you're not getting respected or protected? This is why. Shout out to you, Scylla. Scylla says, come on, sis, tell the truth. The culture. You cannot go somewhere without respecting their culture. That's a fact. We cannot go someplace else without respecting the other people's culture. We have to be aware of where we are. But the thing is, if we were used to respecting ourselves on a regular basis, it would be commonplace. It would be secondhand to behave appropriately in other people's culture. When you're used to running amok, when you're used to just acting any kind of way, saying whatever you want out your mouth, you don't know how to turn that off when you go somewhere else, because those are your patterns. You understand? Those are your patterns of behavior. You don't know how to turn it off. So sis, I'm sure, has been so used to talking to people any kind of way, and then she go to Dubai thinking, you know, same old story, you know, who gonna check me, boo? And she got checked. Ask me if I feel bad for her. Okay. So now I'm gonna talk about the solution. And I've been saying it throughout this conversation, but I'm gonna talk about the solution. Y'all have seen me on this page post the 12 points of re-Africanization, because I always tell you all that your healing is in your culture. Much of the behavior that we're seeing now is reflective of the fact that we are living under somebody else's value system. This is African people outside of their right mind. We are out of our right African minds. This is not our behavior. This is the adaptation of somebody else's value system. It is not our value system. You have never seen African women, black women behave like this prior to colonization. There's no history of us behaving in this lewd, egregious fashion prior to colonization. So this is a result of what is known as the Ma'afa, the Maangamizi, the Black Holocaust, the destruction of African people. So we are outside of our right minds, and the solution is to return to our culture. So from an African-centered perspective, we have to be aware of the images that we put out, the sound that we put out, meaning our music and our speech. Our art form has to reflect blackness as perfection. Blackness is a state of perfection. Okay? Blackness is a state of perfection. And anything that we put out in art form, meaning anytime that we show up to speak anywhere, this is not just in a public forum. When you go outside, you're in public. So how you conduct yourself outside of your house, that's a part of your image, your public self-image. And it needs to reflect a state of black perfection, excellence. Okay? Our concept of beauty as African people is an element of our culture. Okay? Just like everybody else's expression of beauty is a reflection of their culture. And our beauty standards must reflect our culture. When I come on camera and I speak to you all, I'm intentional about wearing my own hair. I'm intentional. I'm intentional about not putting on so much of a false appearance that I don't even look like myself. I'm intentional about that. So them eyelashes that do like this, I don't know what's your point. I don't know what's your point. I'm intentional about wearing jewelry that reflects the best of African culture. The cowrie shells, the silver that helps with balance, the ankh, which represents the trinity of life. I'm intentional about that. I'm intentional about wearing prints that reflect African culture. This is what I'm talking about when I say that your image, the images that we put out in art and even in our everyday lives, needs to needs to reflect blackness as perfection. It's important. And for those of us who think that it's perfectly okay to represent yourself any type of way, go ahead and do that. I'm not even talking to you. If you think it's perfectly fine to be pregnant and twerking on stage, if you think it's perfectly fine to show up at an award show half naked, if you think it's perfectly fine to go yelling in another country, if you think it's perfectly fine to go to another country and talking about your coochie in a wide open public space, go ahead and do that. But for the women who want a different experience, who want to be protected, who want to be respected, you have to now put forth an image that is opposite of this whore culture that is being promoted to us. So all of us are on social media. Use your social media to show a different image. Show yourself your African beauty in a light of black perfection. That's the antidote. My teacher, Mfundishi Jehutimis, says that when somebody has a plan to oppress you, you need to have a plan to unoppress yourself. We can't keep talking about how they're making us look bad, but we're not doing anything to make ourselves look better. We can't keep doing that. So that's my take on this discussion today, the black woman's self-image. Okay, I appreciate everybody who was watching the live with me and contributing to the live. It's up to us who want a different experience to put it out there, show ourselves in the best light, show African people in the best light. Okay, we all know that Wazungu, they're not who they portray themselves to be, but they have a good branding. They made themselves look however they wanted to look. They did not show the worst of their culture. They didn't show themselves walking on four legs. They didn't show themselves in the caves, dirty and not washing up. They didn't show themselves with the diseases. They made themselves look like white Jesus, God's perfection. And everybody else bought into it. We can do the same thing. We can do the same exact thing. Show yourself as black perfection. That's the solution. Samadni says, I have a daughter. Can I ask you a few questions? Yes, you can ask me a few questions. If anybody wants to come up and on video and chat with me, you can. Otherwise, I'm going to head out. So if you wanna say something or you wanna ask a question, just request to come on and ask your question, or you could send me a message. Okay. Other than that, that's all I have to say on the topic, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.